Spoiler alert, if you have not seen the movie Sinners by Ryan Coogler starring Michael B. Jordan, I highly suggest you click off this video if you don't want the mystery of the symbology ruined for you. However, I'm about to break it down so it can forever and consistently be broke. This movie is a cultural classic, and it is chock full of symbology that I have been teaching all this time. So allow me to unpack each and every part of this and relate it so that you can understand exactly what is being stated here. The 2025 horror film Sinners is set in the Mississippi Delta, specifically in Clarksdale during the Jim Crow era. It follows twin brothers Smoke and Stack, who return to their hometown and open a juke joint. Their younger cousin Sammy, who is a talented blues musician, attracts the attention of a trio of vampires who want his soul. This movie has parallels with the story or the myth of Robert Johnson, a talented blues player in the Mississippi Delta who struck a deal with the devil at the crossroads. Robert Johnson specifically visits the intersection of Highway 61 and Highway 49 in Mississippi. If you know anything about what it is that I do on this channel in regards to numerology science, the number 61 and the number 49 is very significant in what I'm about to unpack for you today. The number 61 is 6 plus 1 equals 7. If you have been following me, you know that the number 7 is representative of the scythe or the reaper or death. And the delta, basically the symbol of delta represents a door. The number 49 is also representative of 4 plus 9 equals 13. And if you've been following me, the number 13 is representative of the Christ bloodline, which is the 13th bloodline or the tribe of Judah. 13 stripes on the American flag, 13 colonies, okay? There's actually 13 bloodlines or 13 tribes, okay? Not 12. I think a lot of people are misinterpreting what is actually happening here in regards to this particular film, and you have some people that are saying, oh, it's demonic, but I believe that most people have a lack of knowledge or understanding about symbology and what it represents, and that is the reason why we are in this situation today. So a part of my job as a Christ, which is the reason why I wear this cross on my forehead, is so that I can break this information down for us so that we are in full understanding of what is actually being conveyed. There's actually nothing to be afraid of when you have knowledge, because knowledge is power. Ryan Coogler did his big one with this, okay? And shout out to Michael B. Jordan for playing those twins, okay? The red and blue is highly symbolic of what I've been speaking on this channel in regards to the Hopi prophecies of the red and the blue KACHINA. The Hopi Indians believe that there's going to be a day of purification where the sun sheds its outer layer in an explosion or a solar flash. This is going to be the mask drop that basically reveals this black sun, meaning that the sun is going to shed its outer layer, revealing the black sun underneath, and then you're going to have a period of cooling, which is represented by 3 days of darkness. So once the sun sheds its outer layer, it's going to reveal the black sun or the coronal sun underneath, which is a representation of melanin. And once that black sun meets the atmosphere of Earth, then it's going to cool based on whatever oxygen is within the environment of Earth and turn blue. This is the prophecy or the Hopi prophecies of the red and blue KACHINA. I myself am indigenous and Native American. I was raised as a Cherokee Indian. I believe I have been given this prophecy to break down in detail so that we can understand exactly what we're dealing with here. As you can see from this diagram that I created in regards to the moon machine, there is going to come a time where the moon machine itself shuts down. So once the moon machine shuts down, as depicted in Revelation 6:12, you're going to have a release of the magnetic resonance that is holding all matter together. So you have the north and south node, which are two wing nut magnets, holding together this frequency or this energetic bubble that creates a wormhole within the center of the earth based on water. This in turn creates centrifugal force. The centrifugal force or G force creates this gravity that holds all matter together within this magnetic bubble. So in Revelation 6:12, it is depicting a moment in time in the future of Earth where the moon turns as blood because the machine within it overheats because the resonance threshold or its 12th gate threshold is overloaded in the system by the birth of the man-child, which represents the 13th bloodline or the Christ bloodline. His birth, which is the child that is born from the woman of Revelation 12, which, as I mentioned before, she has the moon at her feet because by her giving birth to this man-child, who represents the 13th Christ bloodline, overwhelms this system that is set for only 12. And by doing so, in turn, she has the moon at her feet and shuts it down. So let's break down what each of these characters represent within the film. First of all, you have the representation of twins, and a lot of what I teach on this channel centers around 9/11, the twin towers, the two polarities of the divine masculine and feminine, and how that was basically a ritual against the divine feminine, which is represented as Pinta, as you can see in this chart, her being the woman of Revelation 12 who is set to give birth to the man-child. She is set to give birth to the man-child, which is going to usher in this prophecy of the blue KACHINA. The character Smoke wears blue, while the character Stack wears red. I believe that this is a representation of the red and blue kachina, and also the theme of the blues and music being a major part in the underlying storyline here in regards to what the blues or the music represents and how these vampiric entities basically prey on this musical influence or this particular person who embodies the blues music that draws in these vampiric entities who want his talent or who want to siphon the energy in a vampiric way. Stack wears the color red, and red is also representative of the red kachina. It can also represent the lower root chakra, which is the lower nature, or it can represent the sins of the light body basically being in the red. And as I've been teaching on this channel, when this black sun event or this black sun gravitational event happens, you are going to need to be balanced within your light body. You're going to need to take the middle path of the heart, which is green, and basically overcome the red and the blue of your body by becoming love, confessing your sins basically to the person that you've harmed, so you can be light as a feather, mayat. This solar flash is very, very prominent in this film because at the end of the movie, you have this scene where these vampires, in their struggle to try to gain control and take the life of these people who are trapped in this house, they burn up when the sun comes up, okay? Because this is a representation of this solar flash and how those lower energies will no longer be able to exist. Remember the scene when they get to the truck, Smokestack and Sammy, and they see this snake in the truck. Genesis chapter 3 verse 15 says, I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. So here we're talking about a woman, her seed, and someone else's seed, and there's going to be a war, or there's going to be aggression between these two individuals. And as you can see from the film, Smoke is the one that cuts off the head of the snake, or the blue energy, representative of the blue kachina. Now, it took a lot of digging for me to find what this particular entity is that's represented as the vampires, okay? But your girl was on it. Like, I did so much digging to piece together this puzzle for you. So let's get into what the actual vampiric spirit is, why they are represented as Irish, and also what this particular entity represents in the real world. So if you're just joining me, I have broken down in another video in regards to how I believe that parasites or old jinns are basically jinn, or basically daemons. So here's a quick clip of me breaking down what I believe parasites and daemons or jinns relationship actually is. The third eye is said to be like a pine-shaped kaleidoscope that can basically sense these various angles of light. So when you have these different seals, basically they're imprinting in different parts of that light kaleidoscope so that it can showcase or project that particular light energy or seal for that particular jinn or jinni or daemon basically. So on my spiritual awakening journey, I was led to get the books Necronomicon as well as the book The Greater and Lesser Keys of Solomon. And the first thing I heard God whisper to me was, what do these particular seals look like to you? And I said, you know what? They actually look like pathogens or bugs. These particular seals are also housed in a circle as well as conjure in a circle. When the person or the practitioner is trying to call forth these spirits, they have to draw a circle, or you have to draw the circle of the seal with a circle around it, similar to what a cell looks like in a circle, or how pathogens attach themselves within a cell. That is when it clicked for me. The seals for daemons or jinn are basically light codes or angles or degrees of light that are created in order to manifest the light body of a parasite or a pathogen that dwells within the quantum reality of your body. So basically it's like a light projection of what they look like in their light form versus them being in the quantum reality in a small microscopic parasitic way. So if jinn or daemons are actually represented as parasites within the microscopic reality of the microbiome, or the smaller reality of life in a quantum form, and the jinn or the sigils or grimoire are representative of the projection of their light body, then what actually is a vampiric spirit? Now, I have always thought about the relationship or the possible connection between bedbugs and vampires, okay? And I had to dig really deep to find this one because it was buried in the internet, which is simply not trying to give me the answer. But honey, God was like, we're going to unpack this today.